The Auburn Tigers get it done 101-66 against Chattanooga. Welcome on into this special live edition of Locked On Auburn. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, joined by the one and only Darrell Dapprich, the birthday boy, Darrell Dapprich, as Bruce Pearl's Tigers, they continue to get it done. They continue to get it done in ways that they shouldn't. And look, you can say it's Chattanooga, Darrell, but this is a team that loves to shoot the three, and things can kind of get hairy with them if you let it. And they didn't do that. They came out swinging. They punched them in the mouth early, and it was all Auburn.
Yeah, great point about people saying, well, it's just Chattanooga. These are the type of games that I'm always really interested to see how Auburn responds. It's like it's about Auburn in these games, not the opponent. And, against Alabama State, they came out a little lethargic. But in this game against a team that in the SoCon that could be in the tournament as a mid-major that's got good three-point shooters, has got a good transfer, the kid from Florida, Bruce Pearl was a little concerned about this game because he has seen times where Auburn comes out a little bit flat and takes a little while to get it going. If you do that against an opponent that can shoot the three, it could be a little dangerous. So Auburn just did not leave anything for chance, came out and took the game by the throat. And that's what I was really glad to see. It's Auburn against all. How's Auburn going to respond after a little bit of a layoff? How are they going to play? At this point, Zach, in these types of games where they're tune-ups and there's one more against Penn, that's what you really want to do is gauge this team. Are they playing at a high level regardless of who there you go, regardless of who the opponent is? And I think Dane Bradshaw, who's one of my favorite analysts, really just nailed it on a lot of bullet points, saying this team's playing at a very high level. They don't scoreboard watch. They don't play to the scoreboard. That's what you need. Remember how so many times last year we would just beg for that killer instinct, right? Finish somebody. Yeah. Finish them. Don't let teams hang around. Go Johnny and Karate Kid and finish them. Well, that's exactly what they did. And so I'm really very, very much falling in love with this basketball team, very excited about this team, and really think they're hitting their stride.
Yeah, talk about the fast start and just kind of setting the tone early. Johni Broome. I think Johni Broome was kind of the guy who led that early charge. You didn't see it all game, but you certainly saw it early. He finished 9 for 12, was second on the team in scoring with 18 points. And was just authoritative. I don't like the three that he shot early. I think that was really the only thing early that I did not love from Johni Broome. Everything else I thought was solid. And you're seeing this side of Johni Broome, especially early in these kind of games that Auburn should win by 15, 20 points. You're seeing him feel out pretty early, like, oh, this guy can't guard me. Like, he is so much better than the other centers that he's playing in some of these games. And props to him. You talk about that killer instinct, and there's a mental gap sometimes that some of these big men have as far as dominating someone else. Johni Broome has kicked that wall down, and I love that. I love that we're seeing that. So props to Johni Broome. Didn't quite get that double-double, needed 2 more rebounds, but had 4 blocks. And some of those were on the perimeter. I love the way Johni Broome played, and I love the way he played early, setting the tone for Auburn.
What's so important about the way he played is there were a couple of games here during the stretch where he kind of disappeared. Auburn won games without Johni Broome, who's their best player, doing anything. We said, okay, let's take that negative and turn it into a positive and say, if Johni Broome struggles, Auburn shows they are capable of still winning basketball games with the supporting cast.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you don't want that to go 2, 3, 4 games because then it becomes worrisome, right? He answered all those doubts with the way he came out. There was a 2-game stretch where he was a little bit, sluggish and disappeared for a little bit. But tonight, really emphatically came back and, again, took the game over on both ends of the floor, Zach. He had a couple big blocks.
Yeah.
Number 4 for them is a pretty good player, and he found out right away that, it was going to be a different type of game. And then he did some great things around the basket. I really loved his post moves, his teardrops with the left hand, his dunks that were authoritative. He did a lot of good things and answered the call tonight, which is positive going into SEC play, because there are going to be games where he may get double teamed, defensive schemes. They may schematically go at him, and other players are going to have to step up. You just can't go a long extended period of time in games without Janai Broome being present.
Yeah, and then Dylan Cardwell, I'm still blown away by the person he's become, the basketball player that he's become. He's always been big, Darrell, but it just seems different. He's playing so much more. His movements are so much smoother than they have been. And you look at his stat line, and it doesn't really pop off the page. It's nothing crazy. 3 for 5, 7 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks in 18 minutes. And it's like, okay, that's solid. But I just think when you combine it with the context, it's like that's a dude that helps you win basketball games.
He went from serviceable to crucial in my mind.
Ooh, I like that.
He went from a serviceable piece to a key piece of this basketball team. You're not going to convince me that down the stretch, Dylan Cardwell's not going to win a basketball game for you. He is. Book it, mark it down. It's going to be where Broome may get in foul trouble, or he may get frustrated, and or the big that's guarding Broome may get tired and fatigued from wearing on Broome, battle, mano type thing. And then Cardwell's going to come in fresh and drop 10 on your head and get 6 boards and win a basketball game. It's going to happen, and it's a nice luxury to have. And again, I'll say it, it's because the kid, his DNA and the way he is bought in is so much to be commended. Team basketball through and through, and give him all the credit for that, because he could start in a lot of schools around the country.
Yeah, he could. All right, Jalen Williams, arguably the player of the game. We'll talk about the player of the game in a second, but was a perfect 9 for 9 from the field. From 3, that would be ridiculous. But 21 points, led Auburn in scoring. Is he finding his ideal role? So, Darrell, that was his stat line tonight. Since the loss to App State against Indiana, that was on the 9th. He went 4 for 8. I'm sorry. 8 for 14. Is that right? I can't read my own handwriting.
Yeah, now. He had a nice game against Indiana. Nice bounce back game.
8 for 14 for 24 points against UNC Asheville. 3 of 6 for 8 points. So he dropped off his production a little bit there. Against USC, shot it 9 times. Scored on 6 of them. Scored 14 points there. Against Alabama State, 7 of 10 for 20 points. And like you and I have been doing this show for a long time now, and we've talked over and over and over again about if Jalen Williams could understand how good he is and put all this together, boy, it would be huge for Auburn. It's starting to feel like he's doing that. It's starting to feel like he's figured out, okay, he wants to be a selfless basketball player, but also we've been begging him, like, be a little more selfish, Jalen. And it seems like he's getting closer to finding that balance, Darrell.
He's a guy that's been here for a very long time, and so we have counted on him for the switch to finally flip. And I think it happened after the App State game. I think there was probably a conversation with him where the coaching staff said, we need a complementary piece to Broome. We need a front court presence to Broome. If they double him, Broome can throw it over the top to a cutting Williams. If they sag on Broome, Williams can be open where a guard can make the entry pass to him, and that's what we're seeing. He made one of the prettiest spin moves on the block in the first half that I've seen in a long time. So I'm just going to say this. I'm going to proclaim it. If he continues to just play at the level I think he can play at, not averaging 18 a game like he's done during this stretch, but let's just say 15, 16, 6, 7 boards to complement Broome, watch out. That's the kind of piece that Auburn could use to make a nice run in the tournament.
Yeah, Jalen scoring 15. I don't see Auburn losing many of those games.
No,
I don't. I don't care who it's against. Somebody else is going to step up. Jalen's a piece. He's not the guy, and I think that's a great way that this is built. So we'll see. All right, go ahead and drop your player of the game. I see some of you guys are already saying Jalen. Hard to argue with that, and that's who I would say. But go ahead and drop your player of the game in the live chat. We'll react to some of those in just a moment, right here on the special live edition of Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience is what brings home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Something that I thought was worthy of note, because we need to give a little tip of the hat, I think, to KD Johnson. Tell me if you think this is crazy, but I think this is a sign of growth and maturity of KD Johnson, the basketball player. He went 2 of 2 from 3, and that's all he shot from 3. And I just think a previous version of KD Johnson would have said, no, I'm going to continue to try to get mine, even if the game's not coming to me. Even if the offense is not coming my way, I'm going to find a way to see if I've got the hot hand. Now, I wouldn't have hated it if he's done that. If you make your first 2 threes, I do think you should shoot another one. But the fact that he didn't, Darrell, I think is absolutely huge. And I think it's a sign of maturity and the growth in the game of KD Johnson. Is that crazy to say?
No, it's a great point. And to just amplify that point, it came off a missed dunk where you would think he would really try to press, right? You miss a dunk and it's oh, I got to do more. I just missed a dunk. That's a little embarrassing. No, he came back after a missed dunk, hit a 3, hit another 3, stayed within himself, had the headband going tonight. And I tell you what, again, these are such, I don't want these statements to sound over the top. They're just observations. He plays within himself and harnesses that KD energy and intensity. He's another one coming off the bench. He gives you 8 off the bench and does not turn it over and doesn't go nuts. This team, along with Chad Baker-Mazara, the way he is just improving and maturing and morphing before our eyes. Bradshaw, I keep going back to Dame Bradshaw because he's not hyperbole. He doesn't go over the top.
Do you love him?
I do.
Do you love Dame Bradshaw?
I love Dame Bradshaw. He's one of my favorite analysts. He's very level-headed. It's
How
not
does
just
Dame
he
Bradshaw
comes
make you feel?
Warm and fuzzy. No, okay. I'm just joking. He made a point about Auburn coming in waves. You know, we talked about that. He said, I've been around this league for a long time. He played at Tennessee. He said, there's a lot of teams that have a lot of great 5, 6 guys. He said, I've yet to see a team that can throw 10 at you like Auburn can. Now, where that ends up taking us in the tournament, you know, whatever, I have a feeling that when things start to get really, really tight in conference play, on the road, when people start to wear down because of the pressure and the emotion, playing 10 guys is going to benefit Auburn at some point.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Chad Baker-Mazara. I think at this point, this is who Chad Baker-Mazara is, and there's a chance his role could grow and he could become even better shooter and defender and all that. But right now, I think what Chad Baker-Mazara is an incredible piece, an incredible role player. I think he's the 3rd or 4th best shooter on the team. I think he's the 3rd or 4th best guy who can attack the basket on the team. I think he's the 3rd or 4th best defender. And that's the kind of guy that you want a bunch of. You want a bunch of Chad Baker-Mazaras. And he's also so physical. I think the personality of kind of what he's able to do is, you know, he sets the tone as far as a guy you don't really want to mess with if you're the other team. Mm-hmm. And I think that's who he is at this point.
I love him as a player because of his intensity. Remember, he is probably the most athletic guy on this basketball team around the rim. He's a high flyer. He's also hit some key threes. He'll guard you if you need to be guarded. But you make a great point about a guy that doesn't want to be messed with. This team, Auburn has a certain toughness about it that it will not get pushed around. Dylan Cardwell's tough. When he fouls you and you bring it in the paint, you know about it. Chad Baker-Mazara is tough. KD is tough. Chaney Johnson, sneaky tough and physical as well. He showed me that side. I love the physicality of this bat. They can finesse you. You want to go finesse? Jalen Williams will teardrop you. Mm-hmm. Janai Broome will go. But then if you want to go tough and get in a street fight, they'll go tough with you. I love that. I know Trey Donaldson seems like a tough kid too, right? A mauler. He'll get after you. He'll be physical. I love it. And I'll tell you something I saw tonight too. You know how you made that little observation about KD? I was getting a little worried about how engaged Denver Jones was going to stay on this team. Here's a kid that was used to being the dude at Florida International. He's a starter. He averages boatloads. He's only getting 6 points a game, 5 points a game, only taking 3 or 4 shots. His dunk, his three, he's engaged, he's excited, he's happy to be part of it.
Yeah.
I worry about kids like that. When I saw tonight, put that worry to rest.
And I think culturally, I mean, this team they really seem to like each other. And
Yes.
I think that helps with a lot of that in the winning. I think it helps with a lot of that. Back to Chad Baker-Mazara with everything that he's doing. Is there any concern in your mind of it not translating to SEC play?
No.
Okay.
I think that's a fair and valid question, but I think he does so many. He's so versatile that I think that can play at any level. I think that I've seen him hit the three. I've seen him attack the rim. I've seen him hit. I've told you this before. One of the lost arts in college basketball right now is that mid-range 8-footer. No one wants to take it. I don't know why. I guess they don't think it counts as much as a dunk or a three-pointer. Of course, it doesn't count as much as a three-pointer.
Yeah, I mean, the analytics say not to, right?
Right. But, there's a time or a place if defensively they're sagging or they're running out on you. Then the 8-footer is a good shot. Chad Baker-Mazara, especially along the baseline, has shown a propensity to hit that shot. And that plays at any level. I think that'll play against an Alabama on the road, or that'll play against Penn, coming up here.
Right. So a few folks said Janai Broome for player of the game, which is totally valid.
Yeah.
It's totally valid. Somebody said Dylan. Then a few people said Jalen. I vote Jalen Williams. I think it's hard to go 9 for 9. It's hard.
That's a perfect night, my friend. I think he hit, I could be wrong. I looked at my stats. Sometimes Bleacher Report doesn't update like yours does. But did he not miss a free throw either? Which means he had a perfect night?
Yeah, he only took 1 free throw. But yeah, one.
So he had a perfect night. I mean, that's a Christian Laettner type night. Remember he used to have those? So if
you were born before last game, so if you were born after the 22nd, you don't know a world where Jalen Williams has missed a shot.
You really don't. Or that KD Johnson doesn't wear a headband.
That's right. Which that's a world I want to be in. Where Jalen doesn't miss shots and KD's wearing a headband. Are you kidding me?
And keep in mind too, Jalen can step out and stroke the three. And that has been another part of
2 for 2.
Yeah. I mean, so he's very versatile. We've seen him. I mean, listen, the dunk where he came down Santa Claus Lane on the miss by Berman on the 3-pointer, and it came straight. And it was like during the Christmas season, that song was playing over and over. Here comes Jalen right down Santa Claus. And he just absolutely flushed that. I mean, he can hit a 3 and then do that. I'm telling you, I think he's figuring it out. I think all that we've been hoping and wanting for this kid is starting to happen before our eyes.
Which is kind of wild. You talk about Jalen Williams and you talk about Dylan Cardwell. Development, the biggest step forward that you have as far as development is usually between your freshman year and your sophomore year. And these are guys that have been at Auburn for forever. I mean, it really seems like they've been there for the majority of the post-pro era. And the jump from last year to this year is pretty noticeable. You don't see that a whole lot.
Sometimes the pieces around you elevate your game to a different level.
Sure.
And the pieces that get subtracted from your team and from your game also can help elevate you. You never know what kind of players were blocking that type of performance.
And it's not always about talent either. It's fit. I mean, these are both guys that were part of the Jabari and Walker year where they won the SEC and had, were the number 1 team in college basketball for a hot minute. Like, it's not always about talent. It's about the fit and the pieces around you. I think that's well said. All right, let's is there anything else from tonight? I want to take a peek at early SEC slate unless there's something else you want to look at.
No, I think we've really touched on so many different points we've covered them all really about tonight. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so they play Penn next. They play Penn on Tuesday, the 2nd, 8:00.
Ivy League school slows it down. Be careful for those watching, and I love looking at tape and what potentially could happen. And I know some of our viewers and listeners always like to hear Penn is a team that's going to want to hold the ball all the way up until the shot clock, right? And slow things down. That Ivy League system, Auburn has to be patient and not get frustrated.
We've seen Bruce Pearl teams struggle with that. Bruce Pearl teams obviously want to run. This team wants to run. And
the good thing about that type of team and that type of style is if Auburn gets out in front at all, even 8 to 10, it's over because Penn's not going to be able to score quickly enough in that type of set to come back.
And I guess something to look at, will they try to punch him in the mouth early in a similar way tonight? Like, will they run it through Janai Broome early just to see? Because that'll be something to watch.
And if Penn has to go to their bench, another problem, because when Auburn counters with their bench play, it could get ugly.
Yeah, we've talked about that second wave, right? And that's where Auburn has made some games kind of end a little early. My mom's telling you happy birthday.
Well, tell her I said thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
26 years old today. I don't know where the time went.
20. I'm 4 years older than you.
Yeah, you are. That's why you're not my son anymore.
Wow. How about that?
I'm actually 55, double nickel today. I'm the speed limit in some places.
You're the speed limit in some places.
Yes,
yeah,
some places.
and several state highways for sure. Okay, so looking at the first 5 games of the SEC slate, and we'll do this again after the Penn game on Tuesday. They open it up on the road in Fayetteville against Arkansas. I hate this matchup. I hate that Auburn's going to Fayetteville. I don't know if they win that game. But
I don't, only because it's such a hard place to play, but you put them on a neutral court or in Neville and Auburn wins double digits, I think. I don't think Arkansas is the Arkansas of the last couple of years, but they're a different team in that freaking place. They really are.
And Musselman, he beats us. I don't think that's crazy to say. He gets them up and hype for the Auburn game. So I if I had to guess right now, I would say Auburn loses that game. But the next few, I think Texas A&M at home. I think you win that one. I think you beat LSU at home. I think you beat Vandy in Nashville. I think you beat Ole Miss at home. I don't think Ole Miss is as good as the rankings say. I don't think they've played anybody. And then after that, you go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama, and that's when I think we really figure out who this team is.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. I do think that they have a shot to beat Arkansas at Arkansas because I've watched Arkansas play. So unless, and Auburn did boot stomp Arkansas last year in Neville with Musselman, but they are a different team in Bud Walton. I just think that, I don't know. Arkansas looks different to me this year. They look different. Now, will that change because Auburn's coming to town and, they'll get up and do all the crap that they did a couple years ago? Who knows? But I agree with your assessment. I think Auburn can go on a nice little run in the SEC.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if Auburn grabbed one in Tuscaloosa. I mean, this team last year had Alabama beat with a far superior team. So we'll see. There's a lot
those games last year were intense.
Yeah.
All right, so live chat. The next 6 games, predict Auburn's record. Penn, to wrap up non-conference play, they play Penn, Arkansas, Texas A&M, LSU, Vandy, and Ole Miss. What record do you have? I will say Auburn goes 5-1 in that stretch, Darrell.
So do I. 5-1.
And I'll say the loss is Arkansas. I'll even give you which one I think it is.
I don't know which one it'll be, but I guess I'm leaning towards Arkansas. But if they beat Arkansas, I think it'd be hard to go 6-0. I think they slip up somewhere else. Texas A&M scares me. Buzz Williams you talk about a certain guy having Auburn's number.
That's a good point.
For some reason, little Vest Boy has Auburn's number, and he stands on the court and does stupid things and looks over at our bench and gets our signals and relays them to his players like Jim Harbaugh or, Connor Stallions. That's what my new nickname for Buzz Peterson is Buzz Connor Stallions Peterson. So I don't know. He gives us trouble. He gives Auburn trouble.
So we're getting a lot of 5-1s, which is what we agree with. We're getting a few 6-0s. One live viewer right now, Darrell, has Auburn doing something historic, something that we've never seen before. Ernest has Auburn going 7-0 in their next 6 games.
Yeah, that would
that'd be insane. That would be crazy.
What a turn of development. What a turn of events there. That would be. This just in. Auburn shocks the world.
Which team did we beat twice, Ernest? I want to know.
Maybe we beat Penn. Maybe we beat Penn so bad. Maybe we beat Penn like the British so bad that And listen, we owe Penn something. Me and you walked out of Hitchcock Field hating
ripped our
Penn.
heart out.
Them Philadelphia smack talk. And I can't, being a Pittsburgh guy, I don't like Philly. And they are a bunch of Philly dudes.
All right. Yeah, he was looking ahead one more to Bama. So that's
okay. So, Ernest, good point. We love you, Ernest. 7-0, baby.
Ernest, I'm just giving you a hard time. I thought that was funny. So,
I want Penn. I hope Bruce. I hope Butch is in like the second row and pulls the old "Remember the Titans." Run it up,
baseball
baby.
team throws baseballs at them.
Absolutely, run it up.
Don't do that.
Run it up, Bruce. Not real baseballs. Those little spongy ones.
Yeah, no violence. No violence. Just for real. Ole Miss, I think, is going to be fascinating because of the Flanagan stuff, both the coach and the player. That's one that I'm really, really interested in. I'm glad that game is at a 7:30 on a Saturday night in Neville.
It's going to be rocking. It is going to be
crazy.
Ole Miss right now is, obviously the darling of certain college basketball analysts because of their record, but make no mistake, I think that's a paper tiger. They haven't played anybody. They're in for a rude awakening when conference season starts.
Yeah. Lucio has Auburn as a 0 seed because
it's Lucio. I had a nice dish of lasagna tonight, Lucio, in your honor.
Thank you for celebrating Darrell's birthday today.
Thank you, Lucio.
Really, really appreciate that. So yeah, more people saying 5-1, which that now seems underwhelming because there's a chance we could win 7 of our next 6 games. But
I like going into conference play 11-2, and that looks like what Auburn will do if they beat Penn. Very, very, very feasibly could have been 12-1 going into the conference play, but I like where Auburn sits right now. I like the way the metrics are working out.
I do hate, and this is not a popular thing to say, but I do hate that like the 2 good non-conference teams that you've played are the 2 losses. I almost would prefer you beat one of the good ones and then drop one you weren't supposed to. But do we feel good? I don't know.
I look at the other games. Yeah. I look at the Indiana game who took Kansas right to the wire. I look at Notre Dame. Well, yeah, but look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat Virginia today, but they pounded Virginia today.
They're terrible. They're terrible, Darrell. They're awful. No. They're awful.
You think that they're worse than, let's say, USC?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, our best win right
now. USC represents so much upside and talent. So, yes, I do.
Indiana's the best win, and especially the way they turned the floodgates open. That game, Auburn was down 10, and I went to go get a Sprite, and I come back, and they're up 15. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I said
that was
Sprite.
A fun one. That was a fun one, too. Was it really a Sprite?
It was Sprite and.
I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Favorite thing to mix Sprite in the live chat? Just real quick.
Yes, do it. Give me some ideas for the next couple of days.
Yeah. All right, Darrell, thanks so much for your time. Man, 2 live shows on your birthday. This is how much Darrell Dapprich loves the people.
I love you guys, and that's why. Listen, it was fun to spend part of my birthday doing this, and I enjoy it. I'm very appreciative of everybody, listening and watching. So heck yeah, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. Be safe over the next couple of days, but Happy New Year, and thank you for a great year, and thank you, Zach. I really appreciate being a part of this.
What's a New Year's resolution for Auburn basketball as we wrap up?
Elite 8.
Oh. Wow.
Elite 8.
That'd be awesome.
We coming. They're coming. Yeah, that's right. About that time.
Yeah, I think try to finish top 3. I think the goal is to be top 3 at the end of the regular season going into the SEC tournament. That probably put you at a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. And see what happens.
I might be booging from too much cake, but I feel like this team, that's the ceiling, the potential of this team. I'm not saying that anything less than that is a disappointing year. I'm saying this team, growth expectations and the ceiling of this team, they can make a run in the tournament. They really can.
Yeah. Ernest, who said we're going to win 7 of our next 6 games, is now saying go Michigan.
Oh,
Ernest, what's going on?
yeah. Michigan plays a little football game in 2 days.
Oh, we're rooting against Bama. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Ernest, you own me right now. Everything Ernest says, I just want more of it. I just want more of Ernest. All right. Darrell, thank you so much, buddy. How can people check out everything
brother.
you've got going on?
Follow me on X, DAP6410, Monday mornings and Tuesday afternoons on the Auburn Network. And then me and you will be back at this next Friday. No, next Tuesday. Live. I forgot the basketball game. Yes, Tuesday.
Yep, another late one. So we will be there for sure. All right, you can find all of our written work at auburndaily.com. Please click that subscribe button, and we will see you on Monday. This has been Locked On Auburn.